There's a persuasion mistake that I'm seeing a lot of you make that is not necessary. And the worst part of it is you think you're doing it right, and you are not. It is the use of social proof. Now, we're all familiar with social proof. It's the idea that someone else is having a positive experience with something, and they're like me, so I should have it too, right? It's like that scene from When Harry Met Sally. I'll have what she's having, right? That sort of extreme, bombastic, over the top comedic effect social proof. You're familiar with celebrity endorsements. We saw a number of those during the United States presidential election. We see them every year in other elections in other countries, parliamentary, presidential, and otherwise. We see them with pharmaceutical commercials. We see them with sports stars and celebrity singers, musicians, artists, influencers now, so on and so forth. The issue, though, is why does social proof work? Social proof is testimonial by proxy. Proxy meaning in place of someone else. If I see someone who's my same background using that product to get something done, and I want to get that same thing done in similar circumstances, well, it just makes sense that I get it. If my product is endorsed by celebrity XYZ, does that tell me what social proof is supposed to tell me? No, it doesn't. In fact, it probably backfires because celebrity XYZ, first of all, they're probably not using it. They're probably paid to be a spokesperson for it. They're not in a similar situation to me. They're not really like me whatsoever. And they probably have a full-time person who's doing that job or service or thing on their behalf who lives in one of their homes or on their property in a separate facility because that's how wealthy they are. And they're just talking about this product for no reason besides the fact they got paid for it. Same thing with candidates, by the way. The typical reason why a celebrity endorses a candidate when they give no reason before it besides vague language like vote for this person because the other one's trying to end democracy, something like that, right? My little tie bar is going crazy. Tie clip. The reason they're backing that person is usually it's for self-interested reasons. I think this person's probably going to win, and I want them to invite me to the White House. Sorry, that's just is what it is. It's pseudo-social proof. The time it's likely a real endorsement that matters is if there are severe social consequences. So the opposite of social proof, but social consequences, social ostracizing for endorsing said candidate. If you say anything positive about this person, you will lose half your friends and you'll run the risk of being divorced by the end of the month. And you'll lose 40% of your business and never be invited to give a speech ever again in public. Are you sure you want to do that? That's a real endorsement. That's a real example of something real. This puts many testimonials at risk of unbelief, meaning they're not credible, they're not believable, because the person benefits. And I can admit to this issue where there's a testimonial I provided to someone, testimonial rather, for a product, knowing that they would be putting that testimonial where there would be a lot of internet traffic and they'd be putting my website there. Now, does that mean that the testimonial was deceitful or inaccurate or lie? No. It just means from a third-party perspective, objective, unbiased, my testimonial is not credible because I benefit from it. If it would hurt me and I give it anyway, that might make it credible. In fact, it would give it credibility. I think now about Lourdes, the special place in France, a sacred place to Roman Catholics, where it is believed that there was, a number of centuries ago, an appearance of the Blessed Virgin Mary, a Marian apparition, they call them, to a young girl. And following this incident, this event, this experience, was the emergence of a miraculous spring that many thousands of people go to every year. It's a pilgrimage site in France. And what is worth bringing up here is the fact that there have been, I believe as of the time of this recording, 47 confirmed miracles. Confirmed miracles associated with pilgrimages to the site. Now, there are many tens of thousands of reported miracles, spontaneous healings, and so on and so forth. Hence, it's become a pilgrimage site. Many thousands of people benefit, purport to benefit, and have a miraculous experience. So why are there only fewer than 50? I believe Lourdes has been there, pardon my French, and I mean that literally. I don't speak French, so I'm trying my best to pronounce what I heard pronounced in the documentary I watched a number of weeks ago. Why are there tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands possibly, over the last couple centuries of miracles attributed to the sacred waters, the springs, and only 47 confirmed ones? Well, there is a vetting process. Every testimony, every claim must go through. And one of the criteria for miracle versus nope is, has the person who claims to have had the miracle, did they tell anyone and did they benefit from it? Socially, financially, publicly. For example, one of the examples that was given was, did they write a memoir about it and get a book deal? Then no, because they financially benefit from their claim. Isn't that interesting? If there's a financial benefit, it is not a miracle from the Catholic perspective. Right? That perspective. And I think that makes sense, right? That prevents a concern in evangelical and Pentecostal circles where there are these faith healing ceremonies and Benny Hinn throwing people around like it's WWE out there. And there's handkerchiefs flying like flags, like a freaking football game out there. I tell you. Is any of that real, or is it more like stage hypnosis, which we know to be suspect? Now, that's different from clinical hypnosis, stage hypnosis. Very different. Ethical versus sus, as the kids like to say these days. Very sus. So coming back to miracles, do those people write books about them in the evangelical and Pentecostal and other Protestant Christianities? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't there a book called 90 Minutes in Heaven? Isn't there a book called 60 Seconds in Hell? Or is it 60 Minutes in Heaven and 90 Minutes in Hell? Anyway, there's these number of these. I experienced the afterlife and then became a celebrity afterwards. I experienced an angelic visitation and a demonic intervention, and I also had a faith healing. And by the way, God himself appeared to me, and Abraham Hicks. Okay, I'm going off at this point. I cast doubt on these personally because they do not meet the criteria of credibility. And we can't say that it's a religious issue or skepticism, because it is the Roman Catholic Church that says if these are present, we cannot say it's a confirmed miracle. Now, interestingly enough, their definition of miracle is meaningful because it's been reviewed by a panel of trained secular medical professionals who have confirmed this is not possible according to our current understanding of science. This is not how the human body works. This is not how biology works. What happened is not how physics works. This defies science itself. It is unnatural, or is it supernatural? This is how they think about miracles. Now, this puts many other testimonials and testimonies under intense scrutiny. I once met someone who was the star student of a famous information product marketer. She had a glowing testimonial for this person, this seller of information products in the kind of get-rich space. And her testimonial was, oh, my life changed by meeting this man and doing all of his programs and following all the advice and implementing it, and it worked so well. So you should buy it too. Now, first of all, it was clear from the outset that he was sending her leads from his community into hers, and that she was an affiliate marketer for him after the fact, after her testimonial was released. So I was the least bit suspicious immediately. But then when I had the chance to go to a gala in New York City a number of years ago, she sought me out because we happen to know each other from the internet. She sought me out, introduced herself. And I said, your testimonial is just glowing, just glowing. What was it specifically that you did from his information products that worked so well? She laughed, and she said that she did none of it. She hired a team because she had this vast capital to invest in a business enterprise, an information product business enterprise. She did that, and she had her team to do everything for her and get things off the ground, and that the business lost money initially, but then eventually became profitable. None of any of this was advised in the material at all. It was bootstrapped from nothing and then do what she did, and then, okay. So, yeah. But how would you have known that from the testimonial? This is why eyewitness evidence can be so scrutinized. Because eyewitnesses see what they want to see. There's also such a thing as retconning, where if you see an event and then you learn more facts about it later, you can self-deceive and say, what I saw was, and then you fill in those details with facts because, well, I learned that this thing was, I heard that this thing later was true, and I'm a true person and I'm honest, therefore that must be what I saw. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. This changes everything, doesn't it? You're never going to trust a testimonial ever again unless it's a documented miracle from the Catholic Church. Some of you actually are thinking, maybe I should be Catholic. Maybe you should. Maybe you should. There's no other faith tradition with that much, let's say, criteria for prove to us that God intervened in your life. Is there any other Christianity that has that depth, that demand from you versus just, Lord Jesus healed me, and if you did $1,000 and we'll match it, he can heal you too. Best life now, get rich quick. Jesus wants you to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Or is that Ben Franklin? Yeah. There's reason to cast doubt on all testimonials and all social proof at this point, even with before versus after pictures in fitness. It's rough out here because a lot of times people will say, eating this particular diet guru's unique plan that's trademarked, all rights reserved, changed my life. Okay, maybe it did. Or the fact that you went from eating Skittles for breakfast to eating 200 calories under your typical American diet recommendation and elimination diet of all refined carbohydrates, and now eating only 2 meals a day and intermittent fasting. Maybe that's what did it. Maybe it wasn't Guru ABC's special program that cost whatever. But that's not in there. That's not in there. You will be a wiser consumer, and you'll also be a wiser seller. Because now that you understand pseudo-social proof, you will be able to raise the standard for yourself. If you can't prove it happened, it didn't. Self-reported transformation is not enough. Anecdotes is not enough. And by the way, you can now make a big deal about this. You can say how high your standard for testimonials are relative to everyone else, and how you can prove it. Maybe you do before and after blood work if you're in the fitness space. Maybe you document everything that's being eaten. Maybe you show what their diet was like before versus afterwards. Maybe you don't just take people in and start changing and working with them. Maybe you say, okay, we're going to track everything you eat and everything you do for a week first, for a month first, for 90 days first, before we change anything. Otherwise, we don't have any useful information to report. That will make your social proof so good, they'll call it fake. And anything else you do, they just might chalk it up to being a miracle.